the thing, I want to tell a quick story about Ramsey. If you haven't met Ramsey, understand that yes, he's an adult, but he has the energy and enthusiasm and love of life of any 12, 15-year-old kid anywhere out there. The quick story I have was he got a phone call earlier this year from Chris Anderson, who's the curator of the TED Talks. Anyone know the TED Talks? And he gets a phone call, and he says, "Hi, I'm Chris Anderson." I can't do his accent, but it's very elegant. And he says, "Ramsey, we'd like you to come speak at the TED Talk we're doing in New York." And he's just floored. He's so excited. And so he gets off the phone. He said yes, of course. Gets off the phone, and if you happen to be on the internet in that 5-minute window after you got off the phone, you inevitably, and he had you in his network, you got a blast from Ramsey. "I just got off the phone with Chris Anderson from TED. It's awesome. He wants me to talk." And the most exciting thing is, and it's during spring break, so I don't have to miss school. So that is Ramsey in a nutshell. He's more excited about the fact that speaking on this big stage with Sir Ken Robinson and Bill Gates wouldn't affect his teaching. That was what he was excited about. So that gives you a sense of his commitment to the profession and his passion for learning. So ladies and gentlemen, Ramsey Musallam, the host of the Infinite Thinking Machine, a 13-year veteran of teaching at Sacred Heart Cathedral in San Francisco, and your keynote speaker, Ramsey Musallam.
Can you hear me? Yes. I feel like I already gave the keynote with all those ITM clips, but is there the mic?
And yes, he coined the redonkulous phrase. All right. And now if the magic of the technology works, everyone blink your eyes. And voila. No, it didn't work this time. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
And that's everything I'm going to say. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike, and everybody for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here and speak with all of you. I think I just randomly Googled EdTech conferences like 5 years ago and just submitted a proposal to speak at Q in Palm Springs. And just everybody that I've met have really changed my life. So I just want to thank you to everybody. I really appreciate it. So let's get started.
Hey, Justin, what's up?
Not much, Jimmy. Hashtag chilling. What's up with you?
Been busy working. Hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag is it Friday yet?
Hey, check it out. I brought you some cookies. Hashtag homemade. Hashtag oatmeal raisin. Hashtag show me the cookie.
Sweet. Hashtag don't mind if I don't. Pretty good. Hashtag getting my cookie on. Hashtag I'm the real cookie monster. Hashtag no.
Delicious, right? Hashtag I did it all for the cookie. Hashtag LOL.
Hashtag classic. By the way, did you catch last week's episode of Duck Dynasty? Hashtag quack quack.
Nah, lately I've mostly been watching Netflix. Hashtag Orange is the New Black.
Oh, nice. I've been watching a lot of Barney the Dinosaur. Hashtag purple is the new black. Hashtag I love you, you love me, we're a happy family. Hashtag I'm 38. Hashtag dinosaurs. Hashtag how do they go extinct? Hashtag meteor. Hashtag Ice Age. Hashtag speaking of Ice Age, I just watched Ice Age on demand the other day. Hashtag funny. Hashtag Ray Romano. Hashtag Deborah. Hey, by the way, Halloween's only like a month away.
I know.
I mean, do you know where you're gonna be at? Hashtag life decisions, hashtag sexy ghost.
I think I'm gonna go as a Ninja Turtle. Hashtag gotta be Raphael. Hashtag Leonardo sucks. Hashtag the turtle, not the Italian Renaissance painter. Hashtag Mona Lisa. Hashtag is she smiling? Hashtag speaking of smiling, I just saw my dentist. Hashtag bling. Hashtag dental care. Hashtag cavity free. Hashtag that's how we do. Hashtag we go hard. Hashtag we can't stop.
Hashtag we won't stop.
Hashtag we run this.
Hashtag true players for life.
Hashtag is it worth it or let me work it.
Hashtag put my thing down, flip it, then reverse it.
Hashtag hashtag
Hey guys,
Yeah, Quest?
what's up?
hashtag shut the up.
So I think like everyone here who has the honor of working with kids, I can say I hashtag frickin' love my job. Like more than anything in the world. I taught all day today and it is true. I love it more than anything.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Yeah. I'm Ramsey and this is Homemade Firework. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Back up. This was last week, actually. Dud.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Welcome to Fireworks.
It smells so good. That's the greatest smell ever.
Okay, so something weird happened. We got green, and I didn't put any barium or copper in there.
Crazy.
Okay.
So, I love my job. I mean, I get Facebook messages from Marcus Del Bianco, who is 22 years old at University of Nevada, Reno, last week that say, do you think it would be cool to have kids do a project or maybe like an introduction to break the ice or something and say what element or chemical they'd be? Like Karina would be sodium because she likes to give and she's pretty useful. So I get text messages. Yes, I do text with my students, so what? All right. I get text messages from Natalie Escobar, who's a current senior at our school, that looks like this. Natalie also dubs as my babysitter. This one's from this morning from Brendan, who wanted to know about smells. Ignore the inappropriate response from me right there. And you gotta love this one from Pearl at our school, who just found out she might get into MIT. Yeah, so this kind of stuff is just amazing. There's a lot of other people out there who love their job as well, like Emily. Oh, you know, just feeding some lions. Someone's got to do it. Hashtag I love my job. John, I just want to do something to make every person feel welcome on this campus. This kid is going to be successful for sure. Hashtag I love my job. This is my favorite from Haley. A guy I work with dresses up like a knight and goes to Renaissance fairs and jousts people. Hashtag I love my job. All right? Unbelievable. But unfortunately, this hashtag is alive and well. I encourage you guys to check it out right now.
Did you learn nothing from my chemistry class?
No. You flunked me.
So this one from Heartbreaker, hashtag I hate school because everyone is so quick to judge. You make one mistake and you're criticized because of it. All right, so there's a lot of truth in that. From Megan, yes, professors, please give me something else to do. The 4 papers and tests next week just aren't taking up enough of my time. Hashtag I hate school. And this one hurts me the most, from Haley. I've come to the conclusion that I'm just stupid. Hashtag I hate school, posted out to the entire internet right there. You can find it if you search for it. So how does this exist right now when we are teaching and learning in the most exciting time ever to be teachers, when we're supposed to be 21st century teachers? Some people caught it.
Hello, Steve. Thanks for coming. My name is John. Any questions before we start? Good. How does your company currently measure results in digital marketing?
Well, we look at the bigger picture and try to see what kind of ripple effect we go for the key influencers who are, at the end of the day, we want to create a halo effect around our brand recognition.
We try to fine-tune engagements to get...
Working on getting a real 360-degree view of the customer to...
Cross-segment synergies. Likes?
Closed-loop marketing.
Sir?
Classification of our brand.
SEO?
Click-through rates?
Just make it go viral.
So we're teaching in this time when we're getting all these silver bullets thrown at us. I'm very guilty for this one. Flip teaching, digital citizenship, design thinking, blended learning, Web 2.0, paradigm shift, 21st century skills, project-based learning, one-to-one, STEM, STEAM. I think there's another one actually. Guide on the side, Sage on the stage. They're everywhere, okay? And it can be inundating us. For me, sometimes making us, especially new to the profession, feel like hashtag imposters at times when we're in the classroom. So I want to walk you through and tell you a little story when I was really faced with this imposter complex, I'll call it, clearly. I was doing my standard flipped lesson where I used, at this time I was using ScreenFlow to make instructional videos for my students that they'd watch for homework. And this is post-doctorate degree in multimedia learning. So I'm offloading certain things to the verbal channel and writing and to the visual channel, and I'm saying things and I'm in different colors, and it's great. Okay? And then the kids came into class and we did our standard analysis of combustion reactions, beginning with a demonstration of a candle burning. So much like I'm going to do to you right now, I asked my students to turn to the person next to them and explain why the candle goes out. Could you guys, really quick, why does the candle go out? I heard everyone say it. Oxygen, right? If I did my little trick that I always do, which I'm not going to do, which is have you put that into a Google form and then make a word cloud out of it, the word oxygen would be ridiculously big up there, okay? And that's what all my students said as well. And I was, yes, you watched the video. Oxygen gas is a reactant, and we're running out of the reactant. Good job, guys. Now let's extend this lab outward. Here's a bunch of jars. Which one do you think is going to go out first? The one with less oxygen, and then they'd actually even do it, hands-on learning, right? And it's great until last year when this kid in the back, why don't we name him Kevin? Because that was his name. We have people from Sacred Heart Cathedral here, so I won't say his last name. Just literally looked at me and just said, I don't believe you. I don't think it's the oxygen, right? And at this point, the class looks at me, they look at Kevin, they look back at me, right? And in my head, I'm thinking, they know, they've seen the receipts. They know that I read AP Chemistry for Dummies every night before a class. They know what's up, right? So I'm going through all the things in my head that I'm going to respond to Kevin with, the standard things like, oh, Kevin, it's complicated. Let's chat after class, right? So I'm like, Kevin, it's actually the oxygen, but I see why you think it might be different, right? And this is the worst one, which I have said before. I challenge you to write your ideas down and email them to me, and we can talk about them later, right? So I don't know. So at this point, I'm starting to feel, at this moment, like an imposter. I am their AP chemistry teacher, right? They're paying, I don't know how many $1,000s to go to the school, and I, in my head, know I can't really tell Kevin for sure that I'm right. I'm starting to feel things of inadequacy, self-doubt, intellectual fraudulence is happening, right? Kevin's IQ is way higher than mine, for sure, trust me. So I don't know if it's because I've been in room 206 for 13 years at this point, or maybe I was starting to really feel like I was becoming the teacher I wanted to be. I don't know what happened, but instead of those things, I uttered two words that now looking back on last year, I think these were two of the most important words I've ever uttered. And I just said, prove it, to him. Okay? And the moment I looked at Kevin and said, prove it, he suddenly was disarmed. No longer was he this intimidating Holden Caulfield-esque kid, right? But he was like, oh, he got really excited. And the class got excited. And he wasn't intimidating. He's just 17, right? And he's like, here's what I was doing. Actually, you have these little rubber stoppers sitting around the room. And I realized that if I take one of the candles and I put it on the rubber stopper, and I put the jar on the top, that the top candle actually goes out first, right? So this is and I recorded it. Here's the video.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's the first mistake. Everybody thinks that the candle is using up all the oxygen. Okay, but it's not. It's heating. All right? So Kevin said, which is really brilliant, he said, well, if the oxygen is putting the candles out, if we're running out of oxygen, then why is this one still lit? And I don't know, right? And the class is actually more engaged because I don't know, which is very paradoxical to the way we think we're supposed to counter this imposter syndrome. It's really, which is alive and well in AP classes, for sure. So Kevin says, I think it's the carbon dioxide, and okay, maybe it's the carbon dioxide. So what do you think I said? Prove it, right? I'm like on a roll, I feel like Jaime Escalante at this point. So he's like, he goes, all right, and everyone rushes off to their desk, and I get this video back from Kevin. Putting at the top one first.
Is that why they get out faster when they're
Yeah. Right? So he's like, I know there was carbon dioxide in there because I watched the video. It produces carbon dioxide. You wrote that in red, right? I filled out your little fancy Google form and answered your little questions. So you did it, okay? And it put it out. So I don't know if this proves or disproves that it is carbon dioxide or not, but that was an amazing class. Catalyzed by me not knowing something, right? Which is very counterintuitive, especially at a school where I teach at, where the students are incredibly engaged and and the class is very high level. For actually me to not know something, to be probably the best class ahead last year, to disarm Kevin, who honestly I was really intimidated by. Like I was hoping he'd be sick sometimes, because I didn't want to see him, because I knew that he would call me out on something I didn't know. So it made me realize, like, here I am using all this technology, right, that I love. At this point, I mean, I could have been a spokesperson for ScreenFlow. I mean, this is like my favorite thing in the world, right? I realized what I think I need personally is a new edtech mission statement for myself personally.
Wikipedia is the best thing ever. Anyone in the world can write anything they want about any subject. So you know you are getting the best possible information.
So, much like Michael Scott, right? I'm looking at these tools that I was coming across as kind of silver bullets. I mean, yes, I am putting them in the context of a pedagogy that I really believed in, okay? But I started to get really stressed out about the tools. Like, I'm using Camtasia Mac, but why not use ScreenFlow? But Camtasia Studio actually has a quizzing feature built into it, but Screencast-O-Matic is free. But ScreenR is much simpler than Screencast-O-Matic, but QuickTime on a Mac actually screencasts, but now I have an iPad. So do I use Show Me, or do I use Educations, or do I use Explain Everything? But Google Drive can upload videos directly now. It's kind of awesome, actually. So maybe I should just get a Chromebook, but it can't run Java. So maybe I'm just going to go back to my MacBook. But what if they aren't learning? I got to keep track of it. Socrative was just updated. But Infuse Learning has that awesome tablet feature, right? And I just got the email saying they're upgraded. But Nearpod, right, IronQ is out there. But Google Forms can really do all that same stuff, so why not just use Google Forms? But if anyone's heard of Learning Catalytics out of Harvard with Eric Mazur, that stuff is amazing, right? But everyone's on Moodle, it can do that, but they're thinking about going on Edmodo, but Schoology, we're on Schoology, it's awesome. And I just learned about Canvas. Canvas is really legit, right? But Google Sites really can be mocked up to do all this, especially with Google+, but the truth is they're all on Facebook anyway, right? So there's all this stuff going on, and trust me, like, I know that stuff, right? So I sat down that year and wrote down my EdTech mission statement. I do this stuff because I'm an overachiever and a workaholic, right? So I get out my little yellow notepad, shout out Lisa, and I wrote down some rules. Rule number 1, my EdTech mission statement, just like the one you guys are all going to write for yourself after this keynote, okay, needs to transcend time, okay? It needs to be true with a piece of chalk, with a printing press, and with my Chromebook. It needs to transcend stuff, okay? And it needs to be important to me. You know, the Quaker educator Paul Kraparmo says, we teach from who we are, right? And I think that that's a very, very, very important. The best teacher at our school lectures the entire period because he's telling amazing, amazing stories. We teach from who we are. So this is my EdTech mission statement. I love tools. I love EdTech conferences. They're my favorite thing ever. Okay? But I want tools that, 1, spark curiosity, 2, track curiosity, and 3, quench curiosity. If a tool does not fit within this framework, then it's not something that I'm going to look at. And if there's a better tool that fits within that framework, I don't care because I'm already inside that framework. That's the framework that works for me.
This is my daughter the other day. She's like, Papa, why can't we go outside? Well, because it's raining. Why? Well, water's coming out of the sky. Why? Because it was in a cloud. Why? Well, clouds form when there's vapor. Why? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know any more things. Those are all the things I know.
All right. So love it, right? We could go on forever with Louis C.K. But I think that it's easy, and I'm totally guilty of this, to get so enamored and caught up with the curiosity of young people. It's my daughter, Riley. She constantly asks, why? I mean, look at her. She's like, I wonder why something. I don't know. And it's just like a duck or something. Like, I wonder why. Why? And we often think, well, where does that go? That goes away. We quench it. We get rid of it. But what we know, what the research tells us about curiosity is that it's this inverted U-shaped curve. But if we don't have any knowledge, we're not curious because we don't know what we're curious about. And if we got all the information, if it's given to us right away, we're not curious either. That there's this sweet spot, and it moves farther to the right as we get older. Right? It's natural. Okay? They don't know anything. Right? At all. This is very curious. It's not our kids' fault that they're 17. We need to find that sweet spot right there, and I'm going to move on just so you'll go watch it later on, right? that the research really says that there's that sweet spot. You know, J.J. Abrams talks about the intentional withholding of information, that is what is more engaging. Not that we're going to not give it to them, that we're going to figure out where the first derivative of that curve is 0, right? We're going to figure out the top there, and we're going to write it, that we're going to spark what the research calls involuntary curiosity, that's really our goal. And if we can do that, Sir Ken Robinson says that kids will learn despite of us. They will learn on their own.
No matter how much mechanical energy I apply, their molecular structure, specifically the cohesion of like molecules and repulsion of unlike ones, prevents these two liquids from staying mixed, as you can see. However, if I add to this a specific complex protein, which here behaves as an emulsifier. Ooh, everybody got your eye protection on?
This is an outtake if you're wondering why you haven't seen it.
Emulsifier. So, two things that normally have no business mixing, in this case, vegetable oil and vinegar, for example, can blend with the addition of the right emulsifier, forming what we call an emulsion. In this case, mayonnaise.
So what I love about this is her eyes, though. Look at those eyes, right? I mean, the first time I stepped foot on a high school campus, I was so intimidated by all the teenagers. Like, I remember what I was like. It was so intimidating. But look at her eyes. She's ingrained in there. And if you break down what Walt was doing, he was intentionally withholding certain amounts of information that I'm sure he's going to tell them later. So absolutely fascinating. So I'm going to go through some of the tools, and I'm probably not going to make you that excited here because nothing I'm going to talk about is nothing you haven't already heard of. But these are the tools for me that I think do these three things. I think it's absolutely incredible that we're carrying cameras in our pockets, all of you right now. It is unbelievable. It allows us to capture moments like this one in class that was straight off my iPhone, right? And it allowed Maddie to send me this text message later on that night of her recreating the situation because of her phone. I don't know why Maddie has a beaker at home, but anyways. There's, YouTube is a Curiosity Spark database. It's unbelievable, right? I can find clips like this from somewhere, I don't know, probably in like St. Paul, and show them to my students and just ask them what questions they have. And then YouTube allows them to send me back things. Like this is Ashley from my Block 4 class who, is doing well. She's not doing amazing, but she's doing well. But Ashley loves to edit videos. She sent me back this the next day.
So I have a couple of water bottles here, and so the first thing that I'm going to do is freeze them. So I'm going to leave these in the freezer, and I'll come back in a couple of hours, and then the experiment will begin. It's now 8 o'clock, and so let's see if this works.
So kind of amazing. I also love all the third-party apps out there that work with YouTube, right? I love to get full-length movies of the spot. Shout out to Ray Barber, if he's here in the room, who turned me on to this clip. And I love to use an app called TubeChop that allows me to take YouTube clips free of charge without using iMovie or anything and pick that exact clip that I want that I can show my students.
The defiant sneer. There was no going back now.
This is nuts. Stop! 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 Stop!
Then I can find stuff like this.
No word if she was triple dog dared, like the little boy in the movie A Christmas Story, who did the same thing.
Watch out for the close-up.
This 13-year-old stuck her tongue on a metal pole at an elementary school in 10-degree weather. And of course, her tongue froze there.
Obviously, right? So, and then I can ask my kids questions like this. What if the pole was plastic? And we can have awesome conversations about thermal conductivity and if it would work or not. That it provides this great window into it. One of my new favorite things I love is on the phone, you can add video directly to any Google folder. It's absolutely amazing. So even though my hands are completely tied by the College Board, it doesn't mean that they're telling me how my students demonstrate understanding. So we have Rebecca, who said, can I just videotape all my homework assignments?
You have to take the molarity, so molarity is equal to moles over liters. So you have to convert the milliliters to liters. So you had 88.43 milliliters, and that's now equal.
Boring stuff, right? But it's pretty amazing that that exists. I'm tracking her curiosity. I love Remind 101, not because I like sending homework to students. Homework sucks anyway. I love Remind 101 because I meet students where it's at, and I can manipulate them when they are curious and do stuff like this.
Oh, let's line up all my blocks. I'm going to send out a challenge problem. First person to come into room 206 and draw the correct Lewis structure for pseudoformic acid, CH2O2, gets, I got a good prize, $1. Awesome. Here we go. Send it out, and we're just going to wait, see who runs it. There it goes. Put the camera by the door, and let's just wait.
This is not set up, by the way.
Footprints. Did you get the text? All right, let's go.
I made him open it. There's Misha. Just because of this silly app that can text message students. They're not on Schoology, they're on their text messaging.
Boom, Misha got it. Done.
Look at her. All right? And honestly, I was like, oh, this would be a good idea. You know, that app works so well that way. To me, that's good technology. To me, that's harnessing and sparking and tracking their curiosity. She loved it, and now they're asking me all the time to do that. I love anything that's going to turn my students into inventors, that's going to get them actually creating their
Hi, I'm Jay.
And I'm Eric.
We have a dream that everyone is an inventor.
So instead of starting our freshman physics class on circuits off with some boring talk about V equals IR and isolating the variables and then doing the circuits, we let all our kids play with Makey Makey. I mean, come on, right? I mean, this is a kid, this kid Colin's amazing, by the way. This is a new kid, freshman at the school, first year having freshman physics, and he's having fun. He's stoked, and he's going to understand when we talk about circuits and resistors a little bit better in the week to follow. And I get this all the time, okay? And it's true. It is hella easy to spark curiosity when you're a science teacher, right? It's also hella easy to be a boring science teacher as well, okay? But I will say, I get this all the time.
Molecules.
I mean, look at Walt.
Molecules change their bonds.
I mean, we get to spray stuff on flames and make like colored flames. I mean, it's completely ridiculous to not harness students' curiosity when we're in this subject. But I will say, I found myself in this was an amazing moment. This summer in Portland, this is Jay Silver, inventor of Makey Makey, who's also on the team. He's the guy who drew the Scratch kitten. That's his cat, right? So he worked under Mitch Resnick at MIT. Well, I'm in Portland visiting my friend Noah, and he's like, and his wife Chantal is saying, "Oh, my cousin Jay's gonna be here," you know, and I'm like, "Jay, whatever." And in walks Jay Silver in the door, whose TED Talk I like worship, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Jay Silver," right? So I'm trying to play it cool for like the first 2 hours, and then before he leaves, I was like, "Can I interview you in the backyard?" So I sat there. This is the backyard in Portland, Oregon, with my iPhone because it's awesome. And we talked for like 30 minutes about our kids and about teaching and about beer and all kinds of stuff. And I caught this little bit. And I think Jay really helped me answer that question that I get from teachers all the time. Okay, isn't it hell easy to spark curiosity when you're a science teacher? What about English, you know? And I heard Jay say this.
It's natural for people who have already learned something to want to show what they've learned to other people.
Yeah.
So it's a natural mistake to make, but people need to go through their own process.
Yeah. I think that really puts it well. I think as teachers, we have a tendency to say, okay, we have this content, we want to transfer it to these people. And we're very proud of having this content, and we sometimes forget how they are going to best take that in.
It would be great to transfer content to people if it worked.
So that just floored me when he said that, you know. It would be great to transfer content to people if it worked. And I don't think Jay was talking about this kind of transfer.
Can you fly that thing?
Not yet.
Operator.
Tank, I need a pilot program for a B-212 helicopter. Hurry.
Let's go.
Boom, right? That'd be awesome. I think what Jay was talking about is this arduous thing that we do where we feel like if we give students just enough basic content, that if we ground them in the foundational material first, that then they will create, and then they will go to these higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy and Webb's depth of knowledge or whatever you want to say. But I think really the answer is having the guts to get students to analyze things first, to look at things that might be complicated first and to watch them fail. But then we get all this beautiful information about their prior knowledge, which then we can use and they can create things, that we can take them on a walk around Bloom's, that it's not these zones of proximal development that we're trying to scaffold them through. That's what Jay was really talking about. So I was thinking about history teachers out there before. I know it's tempting to show documentaries about the Dust Bowl to your students because they're so engaging first. But give them data visualizations of weather patterns, right? And ask them to look at the 30s and look at 2012 and just have conversations about why they think they're similar, okay? Instead of giving kids poetry to analyze, even if it's from your favorite musician. I mean, man crush right here, okay? Have the guts to let them create on their own. Maybe they'll become the next Malcolm London, who's a 19-year-old student traveling around the world right now teaching students about spoken word. You know, science teachers, before we teach students about sound waves, give a kid a slinky and ask them to recreate this. Everybody watch the bottom of the slinky right now. Here you go. And physics teachers, please, before you play this for your students.
This right here is the normal force.
Okay. Play them this, right, over and over again, and ask them just to explain how the normal force is acting here and how energy is being transferred, right? It's pretty amazing. I think we could sit here and watch that over and over. I mean, research just came out of Stanford that corroborates this, saying that classes should do hands-on exercises before reading and video, okay? And this is a very intensive study. You know, it's not about where lecture happens. It's about when it happens. okay? And if we as teachers try to be directive with our teaching instead of responsive, we could be missing an opportunity to access their prior knowledge. We actually might be robbing them of their prior knowledge if we don't. But the good news is that, you know, I get to go back, and all of us teachers get to go back, and we really work in think tanks. Standards or no standards, right? We have a constant ability to think and create our own reality. We create our job the next day, and we can constantly redo it, okay? I think David Foster Wallace, the late David Foster Wallace, really said it best about learning and what it means to think when he said, learning how to think really means learning how to exercise some control over how and what you think. It means being conscious and aware enough to choose what you pay attention to and choose how you construct meaning from experience. You know, I'm just 1/6 of my students' day. You know, if they can't do anything but write the formula for aluminum chloride, that they can't critically think and choose what they think about in the world, I feel like I've done absolutely nothing with them. So here we are in this year in between, right? So we have the Common Core looming, we have Next Gen standards looming, we have new College Board standards. And if you do a visualization or actually an analysis of both standards together, if you copy and paste all the words, right? Compare and contrast is used 272 times. Relate and express is used 251 times. Apply and extend is used 183 times. And analyze and create is used 154 times. And if me as a teacher, if I'm choosing to attack those amazing words, because they are amazing, I think this is an incredible time, by sparking, tracking, and quenching their curiosity, then I need to be the absolute most curious person in the room. That I need to model for them what that means. That I need to not be afraid of being an imposter, because if my search is for knowledge to be smarter than them, then I'll be an imposter every single day of the year, okay? My good friend out of Minnesota, Mark Garrison, says it best. He says, we as teachers, we are mirrors. That they aren't majoring in a subject, that they are majoring in us. That we need to mirror back to them what we want them to be. And for me, I need to ask more questions than them. I need to be the most curious person in the world. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.